What's up guys, Jim here from Clockwork Industries again with another video. I was going to do one for the reservoir and distribution plate, but before I can get to that, I have to make a dust shoe for the CNC because doing these big pockets for reservoirs, it creates so much acrylic chips and scrap and flying in the air, and it jammed up my rails last time and I almost lost a piece of stock. So in order to prevent anything like this to ever happen again, even though I'm upgrading my linear rails within like a month or so, hopefully around after Christmas time I'll be putting new rails on. But either way, to prevent that and to keep protect the new rails, I'm going to build a dust shoe, which is basically a part that mounts on the spindle. It locks on the spindle, clamps on, and then has bristles on the bottom. And it also has a 4-inch port on it that you hook up a dust collector to, or a shop vac, or whatever you'd like. Whatever you have for cleaning up. But dust collector has way higher CFM, so it pulls way more air, so it's a lot better to use. But I found this one online from this company called Kent CNC. They charge like $170 for them, which is a reasonable cost for what goes into making them, but I don't have $170, and I have my own CNC, so I might as well just build my own. I think I got material from McMaster. I'll show you. I got a slab of acrylic and some bristles. I think a total cost on this is going to be under 30 bucks. But I know what would go into making it, it'd be worth paying 170 bucks if you didn't want to make one yourself from that company. I'm going to use the same kind of design. You have the top part that mounts onto the CNC spindle and then has the dust port on it that you slide the tube on, and then on the bottom is the bristle part that's separate, and it's held together with 3 magnets, the neodymium magnets, the high strength ones. On the mounting plate, the magnets will be countersunk with like 100 thou gap, and then they're 1/8 inch thick. So then the ones on the bristle side will be pocketed 25 thousandths, so they have a place to seat, and then when you connect them together, the bottom magnets will actually go up into the bottom plate and connect, and it'll keep it from moving around and lock it in place. So that's the goal with this. Shouldn't take too long to make. I already have, you can kind of see there, I have the drawings already in the CAM software. About to make my tool pass and then cut them out. And then while I'm epoxying it together, I'm going to get the rest of the files ready to cut the reservoir, and we'll get cracking on that. So I might end up with 2 videos tonight. So yeah, stay tuned. I'm going to show you the materials now. Okay, so here we have pretty much everything you need to make the dust shoe. This is just under 1/2 inch thick acrylic, cast acrylic. It's clear because I want to be able to see through it. And the main reason for having it in 2 parts with the bristles separate is so you can pop the bristles off, take them out, and then change your tool out and then put the bristles back on. When they're on there permanently, it's a pain to get your wrenches in there to get on the spindle collet and take that tool out. So you got a 3-inch bristle that goes all the way around. You got a 1-inch bristle that goes around the dust port to keep the 3-inch bristles from getting sucked up in there. And then this came with my dust collector. I'm going to cut off about a 1/4 inch all the way around and kind of contour it to this rounded area here. And there'll be like a 1/4 inch, and I'm going to epoxy this to the top of the mounting plate so I have something to put the you can see it over there, see the hoses. Those hoses will go on over top of this, and then I'll have it hang from the ceiling and drop down behind the CNC, and it will connect to the dust collector right here where the shop vac is. I have the dust collector over here by the laser right now, and it's simple enough to take it out, move it, and bring it over, but eventually, I mean, that dust collector is only 150 bucks from Harbor Freight, so I might just get a second one. That way I don't have to keep swapping them out back and forth. I just use whatever, it's already connected to the machine. So I'm going to get the tool pass made up and get over here and start cutting. Alright, really quick, I wanted to give you guys a peep at the CAM software. This is the mounting bracket. Here's a split for a bolt to run through and grip onto the spindle, dust port, and the tool pass. Got the inner profile, outer profile, and these are the magnet pockets. On this part, the magnet's going to be reset almost a 1/4 inch inside the material. And then on this screen, we got the brush mount, and you can see here's the groove pocket for the 1-inch brush and then all the way around for the 3-inch. Now I have to do some double-sided work here, so what I did is I made some pilot holes. These are like a 2mm hole, and I'm just going to drill all the way through the material on the drill press and then flip it over and then use an end mill to just pocket out about, I think like 15 thousandths, just enough to give me a little recessed area to glue the magnets on with epoxy, because on this side the magnets are going to be standing proud and they're the ones that are going to insert into the other one. So that's basically the layout of the CAM software. I want to give you a look, and then now it's time to run the toolpath. Alright, so the spindle mounting plate is done. Now it's time to cut the other part right here. These are the magnet pockets I'm talking about. This one will have the magnets dropped all the way down in the bottom there. So I'm going to cut the rest now. Alright, well, I had to delete my last clip because the camera rotated and started filming the wrong way, but nonetheless it came out pretty nice. I just got to cut the brushes down to size and glue them in with epoxy and pop in the magnets with epoxy as well, and I'll be good to go, mount it up and finish this distribution plate and reservoir. I already got it partially started, so the video that I'm going to make for it will start off halfway through, but it's all good. And get the stuff popped off the table now. Alright, so here's the two cleaned up pieces, and it is perfect. So here's the spindle mount piece. You can see the magnet pockets there. Just gonna slide it up over the spindle. Let me see if I could do it with one hand. And it even stays without even having to do anything. And then a screw is going to go through here and bolt it on, hold it nice and tight. It won't go nowhere. This thing is solid as a rock. And then you can see how the brush piece will line up. The magnets line up dead on, right where they're supposed to be. Oh man, am I happy with this one. And I made these little finger grooves here, like the ones you'll see on the Kent CNCs. It lets you pop it off because these magnets are super strong. When they're epoxied on there, it's going to hold like a rock. So, really happy with how this came out. Let's see here. So I have this piece here. I have to modify the edges off. And basically, I'm going to cut a 1/4 inch border. And it'll epoxy right on top and give me a port for the dust collector. And it's going to be kick-ass. Okay, so now in hindsight, I should have probably made a rounder radius for the smaller bristles. But luckily, the 3-inch bristles have a little bit more mellow of a curve to go around. These ones are just protecting the 3-inch ones from getting sucked into the dust collector and pulled inward. Either way, I think this is going to work out great. And I just snipped a test piece. This stuff just snips right off, cut it down to size, and you're good to go. So, I mean, this fits so snug and perfect in there. I mean, I can't even believe it came out this well. I'm going to get it all assembled up and glued. Alright, the 3-inch bristles are in. And that's basically what you're looking at there. This part here mounts on the spindle, and you're all set. And then you got these little things here so you can pull the bottom part off from the magnets. But I'm going to glue the magnets in here now. I'm going to try to see what kind of epoxies I have laying around. And then here, I made these holes in here so I could drill through this side and have a center hole on this side, because I just need to make like a little pocket for the magnet to glue on, something that's like about 15 thousandths deep, nothing too crazy. But yeah, it's getting there. It's almost done. All right, here I have the the spindle mount set up in the mill to drill the clamping hole. Try to get it to focus on the correct spot here. And I'm gonna go through that plate into the other one. We're gonna tap the bottom half. Here will be tapped, and then this will be opened up for a bigger hole so the screw can go through and make a clamping force. Alright, so the bristles are all glued in. It's kind of ugly looking through there at the adhesive, but whatever. Doesn't really matter at this point. The magnets are glued on. The magnets are glued on in here. And you just take the dust shoe, snaps right in place perfectly. Now I just got to glue this part on right on the front, and that's it right there. And no more messes on the CNC. I can't wait to use this thing. I'm gonna get that glued on, hook up the dust collector, and go for a test run. Alright, so I got this glue in here. I just used Weld-On number 4 that I use for gluing acrylic. I tested it on here and I saw that it melts this plastic, so if it melts, that means it'll bond. So I'm just waiting for that to dry. This part, I was sick of looking at the ugly adhesive. I used hot glue to hold the bristles in place, and it just looked really ugly through the clear acrylic, so I painted this base part black with some spray paint, just hit it really quick. I didn't mask it off or anything. I just hit it a couple times with spray paint just to cover it up. I mean, it's just a dust shoe. I mean, it looks pretty good actually now, so I'm pretty happy with it. Once these are all dry, I'm going to throw the hose on it and fire it up, see how it works. And it's working like a champ. So that's going to wrap up the video on the dust shoe. I'm really happy about how it turned out. You can kind of see here, I took it and manually drove it around the table for a little bit and cleaned up some of the dust that was left there, but it was like, scraps. I ran a pocket here that was 4 inches by 10 inches and 150 thousandths, so like 0.15 inches deep, a little over 1/8 of an inch. And it would have been a disaster without anything blocking or covering this up or collecting the dust. It would have been everywhere. Like, I got this down here. This is like my chip shield, I guess you could call it. Just a busted piece of cardboard I taped together, and that usually it stopped it from making a total mess. But this thing is just like on another level of of cleanup. It's super helpful. And now doing like reservoirs, especially where I got to pocket out. I'm pocketing out 3/4 of an inch of material, anywhere from 100 millimeters by 100 millimeters to 100 millimeters by 300 millimeters. That's a ton of material to pocket out, and it creates a ton of dust. What it was doing was gumming up the rails on the bottom here, and see how the bearings ride on there. And the other thing is, I'm going to be replacing those with linear rails, like THK style linear bearing blocks. And when I do that, I have to have something that's going to protect those, because if those bearing blocks get gummed up, they'll jam up, and I'll be out $600 or whatever it's going to cost to upgrade those. But the reason I'm doing that is because it's going to be a seamless upgrade from this CNC to the new design that I have with the fixed gantry and welded steel frame and fixed gantry, so the table will move, and the gantry and the Z-axis will still go across, but it'll be fixed in a location. And then my bed will go back and forth, kind of like a 3D printer, like a Prusa almost. So yeah, I'm really happy about the way it turned out. If you guys like the video, share, subscribe, like, all that stuff. Next video, I'm going to do an edit for the distribution plate that I'm doing. So that's going to be a cool project. Be sure to check that one out. And I will see you guys in that video. Later.